Sai Rams. We offer our most loving and humble pranams at Swami's Divine Lotus Feet. And thank you all for joining in the satsang. Today I have the absolute fortune of interviewing Brother Rabbi, who is currently our national seva coordinator. And today Brother Rabbi and I will just be going over a few questions, getting to even know each other a bit better as we delve into some of the experiences that Brother Rabbi has encountered through his journey in the organization and getting to know Swami. So Sai Ram, Brother Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us and making the time.
Thank you, Brother Yassi. Firstly, my pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Lord, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Om Sai Ram to your brothers and sisters, and a special Sai Ram to you, Yassi.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram. So, Brother Rabbi, we've currently known each other for a short space of time, I would say, over the last few months, and I think a lot of people in the organization do look up to you being a senior leader in the organization. I thought about maybe we could start this interview with asking you, how did you come to know Swami in your initial days of encountering Swami?
So my journey with Swami started in the 70s. I was 10 years old, and at that time Swami had his calling cards, which was all those miracles that we witnessed, and it was then that I was attracted to this form of Bhagwan, this orange-robed individual at that age. But obviously, at that age, you're not in tune with spirituality as such and knowing what. But the bhajans were the first attraction. Okay, so the bhajans excited me. Going there and just sitting, and the rest of it I didn't know about it. And that's where the journey began. And then, very young still, then we had to get to school. And then in 82, when I was in metric, this spiritual awakening started. We was now wanting to know who Swami was, right? And I got in touch with a book, Man of Miracles, by Howard Muff. And that book said everything, because Man of Miracles, you want to know who this Man of Miracles is, right? So you're inquiring and you're very excited to know who he is, right? So I read this book, and then it started. That's when the journey started. I wanted to know more about Swami, right? And then I wanted to know where is his head office in South Africa, where is his mandir, and I was drawn to Sudha Mandir in Chatsworth, Unit 9, and the center there was Morton Sai Center. And my first trip there was on a Sunday, and here I walk in, and this ashram is packed, right? And I was sitting right at the back of the ashram, and the bhajan started. But the thing that attracted me most to Sudha Mandir or Morton Sai Center was this picture of Swami sitting on a chair and questioning, where have you been all this time? I've been waiting for you. And that for me was like, okay, Swami, I'm here. What you want, And I got to become involved in the bhajan singing and everything, because I was the desire to go and do more for Swami. Like I envied those singers in the front singing for Swami, and I said, well, Swami, I want to sing, And he fulfilled all that. That's so the journey began. Whatever I asked Swami, it just happened. And then in 84, the first seva conference started. Swami announced the first seva conference, International Seva Conference, and I was directed to go to the seva conference by a senior, the late Mr. MC Reddy. Rabbi, you have to go for the seva conference, and his son Pat Reddy, both of us were directed to go to the seva conference. And here, in the early days, you have to respect your elders and your seniors. So if they say something, it's going to happen. And so I had no choice. I was young. And I was like 18, 19.
Wow.
And So we went. And this conference was like my first trip to India, my first physical meeting with Bhagwan, right? And it was like something super excited, I was excited about it. And when we got to Prashanti, and you do not know what to expect, You go in there, and in the early days you have to sit in the sand. It was beautiful, it was a beautiful sand. But prior to Swami, my first darshan with Swami, it started to rain. And so the sand got wet. So we're sitting on this sort of white pants, you can imagine, on a sand sort of landscape there. And we didn't worry about the pants, we didn't worry if we were getting wet, but we were waiting eagerly to see Swami for the first time. And Swami walks up. The sun shines, everything, the rain disappears, everything happens. It's a miracle unfolding in front, but you only realize it not. Then you're in the moment. But right now, you start to see this omnipotence of Swami, what he's just his physical presence, what he can do. Nature does his pranams to him, So sat there, and yes, Swami comes, right? And I'm sitting in the first row. Somehow I get there. I didn't even know the importance of the first row, second row, last row, but I'm sitting right in the front. And Swami comes and gives me Vibhuti. And this journey starts. So all this attention that was shown in that trip to me, I didn't realize Swami is preparing me for something else. So I come back from that conference, very much motivated, knowing what Swami expects of us. Being the first ever conference, coming from South Africa, you need to expect to come back and start to present to the organization or to your center what Swami, the message of the Seva conference, the resolutions that were adopted. And this journey that I have been on, so I was excited, really excited, but only to realize 3 months down the line, my mom passed away. Okay. Right? Sorry, my dad passed away. My dad first. Okay. And I was like dazed. But devastated, not devastated, because this was a shock more hit here than anything else.
Age, yeah.
And I was comforted by the Sai family. So I didn't miss this. It was something like Swami just consoled me. It was his way of saying, I'm here, I will take care of things. Okay, I got involved in the organization, and all of them used to come home, but then my mom passed away in November. So this was like a double blow in 1 year, and that was the year 1985. And losing both parents, what can go wrong, right? But then there was Swami. So we became his adopted kids, if I say so. Absolutely. And Swami knows you better than you know yourself, even your parents. And he took care of every need of my brother and my sister from that day on. And I had choices. I was a youngster. I could have strayed out of this path of clinging on to Swami. I could have been anything I wanted. But I chose Swami. And choosing Swami was perhaps the best thing I ever did. Right? And I haven't then, since then, turned my back. And the whole journey was only Swami, Swami, Swami.
Wow, when you say Swami takes over our lives, I think you really experienced that firsthand. You sing that bhajan, Tum hi ho Mata Pita, Tum hi ho Sai Guru Deva, and I think you've experienced that hands-on with Swami in his physical presence. So thank you so much for sharing.
I can tell you, I have goosebumps at the moment just talking about Swami being our parents, divine person. At this conference, Swami, you start to wonder, what Swami expects of you now. Now that you know he's going to do all this for you, and actually you don't even know he's doing it. It's like something that's only he knows how he's going to maneuver every move of yours. You don't even know it. But if you let go to Swami and surrender completely, everything that he plans is the best. There's no question about it. And I must tell you one thing before we go. At the Seva conference, Swami, the importance of Seva in our lives. I'm not saying this because of National Seva Convener or anything, but I think this journey of Seva is a journey that we all are on, right? It's the ultimate sadhana, it is the highest form of sadhana, right? Yes. And Swami sang Sai Bhajan, right? But there's one line, where he says, Japa Dhyana Bina, Samjogane. He said, Japa Seva Bina, Samjogane. So when that hit me like a thunderbolt, the Lord Himself is singing it. He's saying it. That became the thing that was embedded in me, that Swami wants us to do seva, seva, seva. Yeah.
And I think on that note, coming to the next question, Swami's, as you said, emphasized seva so much, and maybe you could share some of the experiences that you've gone through in your personal journey, transforming your own self as you've imbibed seva in your daily life, or maybe how you've integrated seva into your daily life.
Oh, Swami says work is worship, duty is God, right? And this is something very difficult, but it takes time to bring in Swami's teachings into your daily life, right? You gotta wake up thinking Swami, you gotta go back to bed thinking Swami, and then in between you gotta bring Swami in. But the world has got a lot of distractions and we get caught up in it, right? And I was that individual at that time in my early 20s, late 30s, early 30s, chasing money, right? I mean, that was something that everybody wants to do, you want to chase money, and what happens is you get caught up in this thing, right? And you forget Swami. I forgot Swami, and that if I have to do anything, is ask Swami to forgive me for. In a 14-year spell, right? I left Swami and got caught up in the world, the materialistic world, and had everything. I was like invincible, if I may say, in the line of work that I was. I would clean oppositions, destroy them, absorb them into my business, that kind of thing, being ruthless. And that is not what Swami expects us to be, right? And then the human values, I don't think I was a practitioner of human values then, because you get caught up in this world.
Yes.
So there is no human values. You forget the basics, the most powerful message Swami has come to give us, the human values. Right? And so I lost everything, and I had time on my hands. So losing everything, because it was a recession that hit the world, I lost everything, and I was sitting idle, right? And I somehow had this energy to go back to the organization, but I didn't know how to start, where to start from. And Debbie was an education convener at the time of the center, and I said, I've got time on my hands. Can you get me something to do in the organization, with a center? And she says, okay, she'll arrange something. So I started as an assistant seva convener. This is where this proper journey started. When Swami takes everything away from you, and you start to sculpture you and create a new you, a new image. And that's exactly what we were looking for. I was looking for. I said, Swami, I want to be happy. What is happiness? Swami says, happiness is union with God. I have to go back to him, right? Go back to Swami. And when I got back to Swami, I was happy. I'm happy. Whatever I wanted just started to happen. I started as an assistant seva convener, worked with people that I'm familiar with and enjoyed working with. And I was also given, as a youngster like yourself, you're still freedom to express yourself, to do things. And that's what I enjoyed, right? And the people around me supported that. And I think that was the most important, the support you had. And then moved to seva convener. But the long and short of it is that you start to now bring and integrate this into your daily life, right? So, if you really look at it, Swami is everything. Without Swami, you are zero.
Yes.
But with Swami, you are 10.
You can add more zeros on
After that, that's it, exactly. Correct, yeah. So that's exactly what Swami is. You take one step towards him, he takes 10 towards you, right?
Yeah, and I think thank you for sharing that experience. And as you initially started in this satsang, explaining how Swami is your mother and your father, I think Swami took you through that journey. And like how a mother would teach a child a lesson, or scold the child, he gave you everything and then he made you learn that lesson, and you went back and you understood, now let me transform myself, let me take a step closer to Swami. So I think that's very inspiring just to hear that as well.
But I'll tell you something else. When you do that, when you surrender to Swami, and you start to think of others in everything that you do, your needs are automatically taken care of. When Swami always assures us by saying that when you do my work, I'll take care of yours. Right? He's assured us that, right? So your needs will be provided. Swami will provide everything. So engaging in seva is like a passport to be happy, and also you can accomplish a lot of things. Swami, you can ask Swami for anything, right? But when you ask Swami, ask for the best also. It's important to ask for the best. It's the Lord. Have firm faith that He is God. He can, in the snap of His fingers, do anything. And that's something we need to understand. We've got to be sure and confident that, if you're a Sai devotee, and my relationship with Swami, as I mentioned, was that of a son. So having a godfather as your father, that is something I experienced in this entire journey with Bhagwan.
Yes. And
in His omnipresent form, He took care of everything. So it can happen to anybody, just for yourself, whatever you want. It's just a matter of surrendering to Swami and saying, Swami, Thy will prevail.
That's right? Very powerful.
Yeah, that's important. And you give it to you.
Wow, that's very important. And I think also, especially as young adults, I think when we go through and we try to understand Swami's teachings and be in the organization, Swami says, you do my work, you do your work. So I think that's something you've also lived and you've experienced firsthand. And I think it's an important lesson for all of us, especially the young adults.
Well, you talk about young adults, right? Again, something very important. It's also going to affect you, right? Is when you're choosing a partner.
Yes.
Right? You're under pressure, right? I was under pressure because I lost both my parents, and the next alternative was to get married. And the pressure comes in. People want you to settle down. If you settle down, your life will be settled. And for me, Swami was everything. And I said, Swami, you choose the bride for me. I don't know what I want. And believe me, He did. Swami sent the right person.
Wow.
So even that part of your life, you have to surrender it again to Swami in choosing your life partner, because He knows best. He knows the past, present, and future. So for you to be comfortable, you know what's happening in this world today.
Yeah.
So to have Swami as your guru and your guide, as your mother and your father, nothing can go wrong. It's just as individuals to make the choice. I think the choice is for young adults is that you must choose Swami.
Yeah, Swami will guide us in whatever aspect of life we need. So
yes,
I think, thank you for sharing that. I think to maybe close up this satsang, if you could maybe share a few words of wisdom to the young adults, especially on how you think we should be as leaders in the organization as we take up different roles in the future.
Okay, rule number 1 is listen to your seniors. And discipline, very important. Swami talks about discipline. Very important for youth. When you are youth, like yourself, Sai, you're still, give Swami everything. Just give. Give your time, your energy, your knowledge, whatever you have. Make sure it's used for His work, what He expects of you. By giving Swami, Swami gives you everything. You are not in any way compromised when Swami created you. So your gratitude to Swami and even as young adults is to give back to Swami. Give back in the form of helping other youth, getting involved in seva, getting involved in healthcare programs, all these programs that Swami created. We haven't created nothing. We're blessed by Swami giving us a blueprint that these are the things that will transform your life. These are just the tools and the techniques that He's given us, right? So as young adults, you have the energy, you have the youth, and most important is time. Give Swami your time. If you give Swami your time, you get anything, right? And the other thing is, for leadership roles, I think, Swami always says He expects the youth to be like leaders, like lions.
Yes.
You often heard that.
Yes.
So you know the definition of a lion. It's fearless, right? It's daring.
Yeah.
That's it exactly.
Majestic,
So majestic and pride and everything about it is graceful.
Yes.
So as young adults, we need to resonate that sort of fearlessness. Yes, and be brave and daring. And the most important thing is dare to be divine. Dare to be divine in the sense of trying to do greater good. Where other youth, Swami always says youth can transform youth. Where other youth will want to sort of emanate whatever your resonance is, that kind of thing. So I think that's a very integral part, I think, for young adults, is to just give in these times that we're living in right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. But as Sai devotees and engaging with other youth in the organization and outside of the organization, is to create that spiritual awareness that there's God out there, God cares for you, right? That's for non-Sai leaders. And as for Sai devotees, we cling on to Swami like a vice grip. We hold him tight. We don't let him go. You let Swami go, you know what, you can lose everything. Yeah, it happened to me. So don't lose that grip on Swami. I think that's the most important thing for young people.
Wow, I think, offering ourselves wholeheartedly to Swami, I think that's a beautiful message for you to share with us today. So I think I would like to really express my gratitude for allowing us to have this satsang today and making the time. I think we all learned so much, and we're grateful to Swami for this opportunity. And we offer this at Swami's Divine Lotus Feet. Thank you, Br Rabbi.
Saram, thank you, Yasdeo. I think this is a rare privilege that we have, and it's exciting that the young adults have come up with this. And hope we can add value to you all. We are always here and to help and mentor. So yes, and all the best for all our young adults. Sai Rams.